Welcome to In Depth with Academia. I'm Richard Price, CEO of Academia.edu, and as always, I'm here to help unpack impactful scholarship so it actually feels, real for you and me. Today we're taking a deep, very deep dive into a fascinating paper called Aether Kinesis and the Logic of Creation, a metaphysical examination of spiritual displacement by Radwain K. Newby. Alright, so, what is this paper trying to tackle? At its core, Newby's work is asking a massive question. Basically, what is the true logic, or maybe even the physics, behind how souls interact with the divine? Why does it feel like we're sometimes out of step with this big underlying order of things? And if that's true, how do we restore or repair that connection? It's a pretty audacious challenge because it tries to bridge huge gaps: metaphysics, spirituality, and even some modern science. Whether or not you agree with these premises, the discussion offers a fresh way to look at some age-old questions about existence and meaning. Again, I'm presenting Newby's ideas objectively, so please remember, nothing here is an endorsement, but a chance to explore what's being proposed. So, what is Aether Kinesis? Newby defines it as the modulation, or shifting, of spiritual presence across various resonant states of being. Think about your favorite piece of music, a chord that rings in perfect harmony, and now imagine the soul doing that, resonating either in tune or off-key with the universe or divinity. I mean, it sounds a little mystical, but for Newby, it's mathematical. There's even something called the spiritual displacement equation. Here's how it works. Creation, according to this model, is governed by a triune system called Elohim, authority, impetus, representation, or more simply, synergy, order, and love. The idea is that all existence is structured through these laws. Synergy is cooperative interdependence. Order is boundaries and structure, and love is the glue, the living personality that makes it all coherent. And, get this, Newby isn't saying love is just the result of these things, but that love is what you get when synergy and order are personified fully. Sort of a cosmic logic, but with heart. Now the paper's core proposition is that the soul is supposed to naturally resonate with divine logic, the music of the universe, you could say, but most people experience a kind of spiritual displacement, creating dissonance instead of resonance. That's spiritual misalignment. Newby claims this is why people lose a sense of authentic identity and peace. The soul falls out of tune with the divine orchestra. Let's talk methods, or at least frameworks. Newby brings together ideas from theology, like the role of Christ and the Trinity, with metaphysical models and, for good measure, some analogies from quantum physics, vibration, frequency, and resonance. The model uses equations, actual sets of variables, for spiritual movement, influence, identity, and spiritual health. He talks a lot about something called the death factor, that measures how far a person has drifted from this original resonance. But practically, if we strip away the technical jargon, what does this model suggest for you? It's actually pretty tangible. The key is developing what Newby calls emotional intelligence, or EI, not EQ, which is more about emotional sensitivity, but EI, which means spiritual discernment and the ability to respond to what is described as divine impressions. Every choice, according to the paper, is like a note in the symphony, bringing us closer to alignment or further away. And okay, pause for a random thought. I spent about 6 months in my 20s convinced I could learn how to play guitar just by reading chord charts. Turns out there's a pretty big gap between understanding the logic and actually making music. I don't know, maybe there's a metaphor in there about theory versus lived experience. Or maybe it's just nostalgia. Back to Newby, he uses biblical references, numbers, all sorts of symbolism, like 70 times 7, to build a framework for forgiveness and mercy as dynamic, almost measurable components in this metaphysical story. And again, whether that feels scientific or just poetic is for you to decide. What's clear, though, is that for him, pride is the main disruptor, a force breaking us away from the resonance of love, making us out of sync not just with God, but with ourselves and, reality itself. But here's the big takeaway. Aether. Kinesis is not just about high-minded philosophy or quantum theory. Its practical message is that spiritual transformation isn't powered by being smarter or even more emotional, but by being able to sense and respond to a deeper logic, something called grace. And if you're listening, maybe wondering, what does this mean for me? The implication is that your ongoing process of tuning in, of noticing moments of humility or insight or even discomfort, all count as steps on this path of resonance or spiritual restoration. I want to emphasize once again, I'm sharing newbies' propositions neutrally. Academic research is about offering frameworks, not providing absolute truths. Whether any of this rings true or just seems out there, the value is in considering new perspectives and what they reveal about ourselves. Thanks for joining me on In Depth with Academia. If you're curious, skeptical, or just want to dig deeper, check out the paper from Radwayne K. Newby. Until next time, keep asking questions, keep exploring, and remember, every theory is an invitation, not the final word. See you soon.